All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before we begin the first review, a lot to go through. I just want to say that a few weeks ago, I said to everybody that I am turning a new page. No longer am I going to be doing just mindless commentary, bringing on individuals so they can let off steam and, create controversy. That I actually wanted to do something that I've always wanted to do, which was ultimately help people. Help people by living a better life, healthier life, wealthier life, and all the other things. So since it's Christmas, I've started doing precisely that. So on my Discord server, anybody that wants a free website through my digital marketing agency, you can have one. All you have to do is arrive onto my Discord channel, and even if you don't want to come to my Discord channel, you don't have to. You can just message me somewhere, and if I see it, I shall respond accordingly. However, if you want the best possible service and communicate with me most effectively, you can come onto my Discord server and just message me and say, Manny, I would like a free website. There's a few basic terms that you will need to read and accept, and I shall make that into a reality. And there's no ifs, there's no buts. You don't have to pay me anything whatsoever. You tell me what type of website you want, and I shall get my team to create that for you, or certainly customize it. Get it ready for you to customize if there's any tweaks. I'll even train you up how to use it. How's that? And I'll even have somebody do basic digital marketing for you, so you get some level of training. To be honest, if I just train you up to do digital marketing, whether that's advertising or search engine specialization, then you will have some training to go on and make some money. So by me giving you a website, what I'm actually giving you also, if you want to learn, that is potentially a career or a new career or a part-time business. It's up to you. Like I said, there's no ifs, there's no buts. It's just my time. I already pay the team. I'm already a partner in that business. I can just get this done. I just want to give it as a gift. It's Christmas, and there's far too many YouTube, social media channels out there that, just want to talk baloney, let off steam, and they don't really help anybody. That's number one. And number two is, I'm surprised I didn't see this video previously. But I just think it's very fitting from yesterday's live stream. So let's jump straight into it.
Don't know how. Something along those lines. No patrol on the fence.
So basically, these are Israeli soldiers who are testifying against what happened on October the 7th, stating that there was some type of governmental military stand down. Make of that whatever you want. I'm just sharing the information.
All stations. I don't know why. I don't know how. Something along those lines. No patrol on the fence. And this was at 5:20 in the morning. All stations are to hold their positions. And sure enough, an hour later, at 6:30 a.m., suddenly sirens. So you know how we said October 7th, when Hamas attacked Israel, that was actually at least half engineered by Benjamin Netanyahu, because he made sure that Hamas, which is the way more radical and militant group in Palestine, was the one that was funded over the PLO, which were secular and not as militaristic. So he wanted to make sure Hamas was propped up so that they could always say, we can't negotiate, they're terrorists. So he made sure they kept funding Hamas and not the PLO. And so when the attack happened, where were they? Where the most surveilled place in the world is Gaza, and Israel didn't respond for hours and hours to the attacks.
Tiny Israel, not a lot of distance to drive.
That's a very tiny
country. The IDF told the ravers to go ahead. It's totally cool to rave next to the concentration
that's
camp.
Right. Even though the security people warned the Israel military we shouldn't have this rave, They said, go ahead with it, because they wanted this to happen so they could use this as a pretext, the October 7th attacks, to go in and wipe out the people of Gaza and take over their land. That's what this was always about.
Israelis know this, by the way, but they'll hide it from you because they still want your money.
So here.
Okay, so you guys can go ahead and watch that video on the Jimmy Dore show. I won't be showing any more of that here myself, but it's a very interesting video. But now let's get to Ben Habib and the waffle. So on my feed today, I came across this video, an interview by Paul Thorpe. I saw the thumbnail, Ben Habib was on fire, for interesting. He's going, I wonder what he's going to say. If he's on fire, it's got to be something amazing. Let's check it out.
Ben, I've got to say, it's very, very...
So I'm just going to forward it to when it starts, and I'll probably skip after the first bit, because how it starts is how it finishes. Not very well, but let's just go.
Welcome back, everyone, and good morning to you all. As always, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm delighted to welcome back the leader of Advance UK. That is, of course, the one and only Ben Habib. Good morning, Ben. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, Paul. I'm terrific. How are you?
I'm very well, Ben. Thank you very much. Been busy as usual, as I know that you have. Ben, we're going to get straight into it today, because we've got quite a lot to talk about, and I know that your time is always very precious. I think we need to start today with the tragic and hideous slaughter of 16 innocent civilians out there in Sydney. Once again, innocent bystanders, Jewish families shot down in cold blood by a demonic Islamist terrorist. What was your initial take and reaction after that event, Ben?
Yeah, quite right, Paul. That it was completely demonic. Okay, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. What I want everybody to comprehend is this. There's a trick that politicians specialize in. And that trick, when speaking in public, is as follows. It allows them to speak with passion. It allows them to bring in the audience, and it allows them to almost create an atmosphere of saying, yes, that's right. And, everyone, the masses getting behind them. And the way they do that, and those of us who have been to, certain well-to-do schools will know about these tricks. But anyway, the way they do that, the politicians that is that they will talk about the situation. So let's just take immigration, for example. If I was to follow this protocol, I would be saying, look how much immigration is destroying society. Look how much it's watering down Christianity. Look how much it's changing the town centres. Look how much the people are suffering because we can't get into the GPs. You see, what am I doing? I am actually only talking about what the situation is, right? And every so often, this strategy will allow the persona to claim no more than 5% that when my party gets into power, then I will do this. Okay, so I just want you guys to understand that, and then you just listen to this waffle start, and then I'll show you something very interesting.
Well, I woke up to it on Sunday morning, reading the news in bed, not knowing initially whether or not the attackers were of a Muslim faith, but suspecting strongly that because a Jewish, the Hanukkah event had been targeted. It was.
Okay, next question.
They were absolutely bemused, and the reaction from the I don't know if you saw Dan Wootton's show last night. As always, a brilliant show. Dan was showing the reaction of the Australian people to the politicians, the mainstream politicians. They were being booed, they were being heckled, they were being shouted at. And then when the lady, I forget her name right now, but she's like, Australia's equivalent to Tommy, if you like. When she turned up, she was given a hero's welcome. What is it with these politicians that they just can't see what's unfolding right in front of their very eyes? Why is it, Ben? Are they scared? What's the problem?
Well, I think there are multiple things going on. The first is they've pretty much uniformly bought into the notion that all of humanity...
So just listen, he'll only ever talk about the situation.
In certain respects, of course, all humanity is equal. But they've taken that equality in their minds to basically assume that all humanity will behave in the way that we behave in the West if they're just shown the way. That if we are warm and welcoming to any individual from any part of the world, they will suddenly become peaceful and have our values and not mean us harm and settle very comfortably and easily into our countries. And that is a fundamental mistake. It's a fundamental mistake to think that people deserve certain inalienable human rights and then to make the massive leap from there to assume.
But we know all this, right? So the entire show, I think Paul asks him no more than 2, maybe 3 questions. It's just Ben Habib waffling. Now, I don't want you guys thinking I'm just having a go at Ben Habib. All the politicians are doing it, just that Ben Habib is the least experienced in how to cloak this strategy. Never to answer a question, never to give a guarantee to how they will resolve it, but just talk about the problem so people just agree with them and then they feel good about themselves.
Barbaric. And what we've managed to do so successfully in the West was to create an extremely, and I've talked about it before on your show, over hundreds and thousands of years, frankly, we evolved a constitution and cultural setup that is extremely tolerant, extremely generous and kind, but also very, very, I'm searching for the, just give me a second, but very capable of being abused because its propagation depends on everyone in the West behaving that way. It's very sensitive. The word I'm looking for is sensitive. It's a sensitive constitutional and cultural setup. And it's not used to being challenged in a muscular way from within, because we all behave in a civilized way. But if you bring something barbaric, something that doesn't recognize our constitutional and cultural settlement that we had evolved over 1,000 odd years, if you bring elements in.
But we're not interested in really knowing what Islam is or what any other foreign ideology is. What we want to know, what guarantees can you give Ben Habib that you will not do what all the other politicians do?
Elements into it which don't recognize it, they will run amok because we're not capable of addressing them in the same strong-handed way, strong-armed way that would be required in order to quell them. Now, you don't see any problems, for example, with Islamism in the United Arab Emirates or in Saudi, for that matter, Saudi Arabia. The people who govern the UAE and Saudi Arabia recognize the challenges posed by barbarians.
Okay, let's fast forward to the next question. He doesn't.
No indiscretion is tolerated.
Absolutely. The second part of that question, Ben, how would you potentially deal with Islamic extremism? I know that, look, to be fair, it's a very open question. You could probably talk for hours on it, but just briefly, after the weekend's terrible events, what is your initial sort of gut feeling? What have you got on your mind? How would you start? How would you even start to deal with a belief system now that is almost embedded into our society? How do we actually root that out and get rid of it from our country?
So I think it's a multifaceted answer.
No, it's not. No, it's not, Ben. It's not a multifaceted answer. But why don't you waffle on and create an answer for us?
Part of it is rediscovering who we are to start with. We've forgotten who we are. In the pursuit of 30 years of multiculturalism, promoting people from other
How long is that going to take?
parts of the world, even if they come from barbaric backgrounds, to equating to us in every single respect, setting aside British citizenry, all that needs first to be reversed. We need to remember who we are. And so by that, what I mean is get rid of the Human Rights Act, get rid of the Equalities Act, get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion. By removing those 3 things from the fabric of the United Kingdom, we automatically reinstitute what it means to be a British citizen. We give our citizens the privileges as well as the obligations that come with being a citizen, but we reinstitute the privileges of being British, which are now basically handed out to anyone who happens to be in the country. Yeah. And we make a distinction between people who are here as foreigners and people who hold a British passport. We get rid of DEI, so we get rid of this protective blanket that effectively is allowing people in our country, foreigners in our country who've come to this country, to have their ideologies not just protected, but also promoted and celebrated through this protective blanket of DEI. That has to go. If you do those 2 things and you get rid of any international law and domestic law that prohibits you from enforcing your borders and deporting people, actually you've taken a massive, massive step forward, Paul, because you've then got the architecture required in the country to do what's necessary. The next thing that's required is to remind the country that we are constitutionally a Christian country. And I don't just mean culturally Christian, we are constitutionally Christian. People will say, Ben, you're wrong. We're a secular state. We don't have religion in our state. And I would say, no, I'm afraid actually you're wrong.
Again, we know all this. These things are apparent now. They may not be used, but what you are saying, Ben, that you want to use them. These are still active now, but they're not being used because they are finding a way around. The question is, how will you guarantee that you will not turn out to be another crooked politician? Because if Ben was to give a genuine answer, or any politician was to give a genuine answer to that question, I would spend all my free money into working for them free of charge and even promoting and advertising them. So anyway, this live stream is on Paul Forbes. You can go watch it, but there's something better than that. Ben Habib was asked precisely that question about whether or not, about what guarantees does he give. And this starts at 18 minutes. So again, he's going to give what I said is a strategic waffling answer like all politicians do. I don't want anyone to think that I'm picking on Ben Habib. I'm just pointing it out with Ben Habib because him and Nigel Farage it's the easiest way to point this strategy out. But let's listen to this. Very interesting.
I've never, I mean, I don't really understand the question, John, if you don't mind me saying.
Vote through your manifesto.
Well, they
Sorry, let
won't
me
get in
rewind
our
it.
way. I'll stop there.
Okay, it's from here.
Yeah, we've got time for one or two more questions. So, right, okay, we've got 6 people who've got their hands up. We've only got, right, okay. Right, okay. So can we be brief and
Essay
quick?
answers.
How will you guarantee your MPs will vote through your manifesto?
Well, the MPs will be part of the body of people that come together to form the manifesto. It's impossible that our MPs won't vote for the manifesto.
Sorry, Ben. John, by the way.
Yeah.
Ben, how can you guarantee us that the elected MPs at the next election, because Advance will win the next election, I firmly believe that. I want to hear what the guarantee is that the MPs will actually vote through the manifesto.
Brilliant question. Brilliant question. So this chap, I think he said his name is Paul, is asking Ben Habib, what guarantee is there that the politicians of Advance UK, those standing for election, what guarantee is there that they will force through the manifesto? Okay. In other words, what guarantees can you give Ben Habib that you and your fellow candidates will not lie to us with pre-election promises and then go back on those election promises when in power? What guarantees can you give that you're not a crook? This is what Ben Habib answers with.
I've never, I mean, I don't really understand the question, John, if you don't mind me saying so, because the MPs would have stood for that manifesto in the election.
As I understand it, once an MP is elected, because we're in a democracy, he can choose after he's elected whether he actually votes through the manifesto that he stood on.
Yeah.
So the guy is very intelligently and politely saying nearly every single politician, once they're in power, goes back on their promises. Right? Now, he's wiped his mouth, he's wiped his brow. Let's see what he comes back with. After, when he was asked the same question the first time, he says, I don't understand the question. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Am
I mean, they could all do a volte face. It would be a most peculiar.
We're not asking all of them, Ben. We're asking you and your fellow Advance UK candidates. Now, be a fish and swim your way out of this one.
Peculiar thing to happen for MPs to have stood on a platform, campaigned for the manifesto, bought into the manifesto, promoted the manifesto, and then get into Parliament and say we're not delivering the manifesto. And as
Right, so Ben Habib right there, you all heard it, whether you're watching this live, whether you're watching this afterwards. Ben Habib has denied that it would be a peculiar thing for any member of Parliament to go back on either a manifesto or pre-election promises, right? Because a manifesto is a pre-election promise. So he thinks it's peculiar and therefore it doesn't even happen, he's saying. That's what he's saying indirectly, from my understanding. He thinks, like himself, and that he is the same as all the other so-called honourable members of the House and vote for me and I should deliver. I mean, and this is my point of highlighting this, Ben Habib, Nigel Farage, and every other politician will not give you a guarantee that they will deliver on their pre-election promises, because they have, without a question, no plan to do so. If I was standing for election and somebody was to ask me that same question, Manny, what guarantees can you give for delivering your manifesto or your pre-election promises? I would, without a shadow of a doubt, saying that I will waive my parliamentary privilege and I will waive any assumed sovereignty that I have as a member of parliament, which I don't anyway, because I'm a servant of the public, and I will open myself up to be prosecuted for not delivering the very thing that I promised I would in the pre-election. That is what an honest and genuine candidate would say. But Ben Habib is not one of them, is he?
And as I say, they won't really have much time to change their minds, because on day one, we're going to pass on day one, I'll tell you on day one roughly what we're going to do. I'm jumping.
But we haven't asked you what day one what you're going to do. They always tell us at day one what they're going to do. Trump said on day one he was going to release the Epstein files. Every single politician says on day one this is what we're going to do. No one's asking you what you're going to do from day one. What we're asking, or what the gentleman was asking, what guarantees can you and your fellow candidates give? And you have skipped the answer, and therefore you are untrustworthy, just like Nigel Farage or Nigel Farage and every other British candidate for any political party.
Jumping ahead of the college, but I know the college is like-minded. On day one, we're going to repeal the Human Rights Act and get rid of the ECHR.
And did you see that? It's like almost somebody was ready for the claps. Like, from day one, we're going to do this. Rap. Yes. But he skipped the question. The question was, Ben Habib, what guarantees can you give that you will not turn out to be another corrupt British politician? And he didn't answer. In fact, he wormed his way around the question. And that, my friends, is a perfect example how he and all his candidates and his party and every other candidate in this country are just all crooks. This is not about Ben Habib. This is not about Advance UK. I'm just showing you through Ben Habib what to look out for when choosing a candidate. Don't go for just because your favourite British hero or your favorite YouTuber or whoever, your next door neighbor's got a nice lawn and he votes for such and such party. Don't go for any of that. Just ask yourself one question. Has the party and the candidates proven to me that they will guarantee without a shadow of a doubt that they will deliver the promises that they have made pre-election? And I'll tell you right now, you will not find a single candidate in British politics, because they're all crooks. It's as simple as that. All right, next video.
Powered by ultimate burn, he hits the street, running through the city with fire.
The media has the nerve to get up on TV and radio and the print and say Iran is Al-Qaeda and funding Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is the army of the New World Order. Everywhere you go, they are the strike force. They are the people the CIA sends in, that Mossad sends in. They are the people. They are the sword of the New World Order.
So that was...
they think you're idiots, and I wouldn't call...
So this is Alex Jones talking how Al-Qaeda is the militant arm of the globalists, okay? And I'll tell you how he has done a complete U-turn.
People are knowledgeable in. They're knowledgeable in surfing, or they're knowledgeable in skateboards, or they're knowledgeable in football, or they're knowledgeable in their particular business. If it's selling carpet and tile or used cars, or if you're a doctor, you're knowledgeable in your specialty, but all your extra time is golfing and parasailing. Who knows? But people have almost no knowledge of how the world works, or say the Muslim factions. 79% Sunni, 19% Shiite, and the other 2% are different groups of splinter organizations from Islam.
So I want you to take note of the text down here. So it says InfoWars Archive, June 4th, 2009. Alex Jones detailed how Al-Qaeda was created by the CIA and Mossad as a weapon of the New World Order. Okay, we know that to be true from recent history events. But now I want to show you how he's changed his tune to something completely the opposite. Let's watch this video.
PR offensive, a charm offensive. As you said, there are attacks planned in the West. We're already seeing it happen. The Christmas festivals across Europe, we're seeing Islamic terrorism at these events. And then you go online, and even when there's a shooting in Australia just now, you're seeing people, even supposed right-wingers like the Groypers, saying, oh no, this was a false flag immediately. No intelligence at all. Just, this is a false flag. Israel did it. And then some of them are even celebrating, which shocked me to see these people celebrating because some Jews were killed. Christians were killed as well. And this is the problem in the West. It's Muslims are willing to kill and rape Christians and Jews, but Jews are being used as a lightning rod to make this acceptable. Oh, well, the Jews deserve it, so let's not punish the Muslims who are raping and murdering. It's could not be more black and white. The solution to these problems, they must go. Across Europe, the word is remigration. England, Germany, Sweden, France, the terrorist attacks in Nice or Charlie Hebdo, these weren't all Mossad attacks. This is Islamic terrorism, but because Israel is geopolitically unpopular, not without reason. There are reasons to not like Israel's politics, but that does not excuse Islamic terrorism or make it good for Muslims to come to the West en masse. If you look at their behavior in the West, it's raping, murdering, terrorism. This is not helpful for America, obviously, but it is helpful for communists, the left, the Red-Green Alliance, to divide and conquer America by pushing the idea that, oh, Jews and Christians were murdered in a Western nation. Well, obviously, Israel did it.
Portions of the right-wing populist movement that is saying there is no threat. Any of these terror attacks are false flags. Now, sometimes the West has staged false flags. Other times it's wound up Muslims to do things. That certainly happens. And I know how to look at these case-by-case points. That is not what happened in D.C. That is not what happened in Syria. That is not what happened in Australia. That's not what happened with these attacks on all of these Christmas festivals in Europe. That is not with this new group they just busted that was planning to blow a bunch of stuff up in L.A. This is going on.
The government bears out.
So as you can see, the Christmas attacks, Christmas market attacks in Germany, that's definitely, not staged. But you see how Alex Jones has also done a complete U-turn, where he categorically has previously said that groups like Al-Qaeda, Muslim Brotherhood, and so on and so forth have been created, funded, financed by Western governments or a Western government. And now, very, very strangely, he's beginning to do a U-turn. Talking of U-turns, he's gone from being a Candace fan into completely attacking Candace. But then again, he's not the only one. I thought this is important to share.
I was going to do a show for you guys this evening, but I am truly exhausted. Very productive conversation. I asked every single question. From Egyptian planes to Turning Point USA Faith, And I was very surprised by some of the answers that I got. And I think they were also very surprised when I shared certain intel. This probably should have happened a very long time ago, but I wanted to let you guys know that I am alive, and I will have the full rundown for you guys tomorrow of what transpired. And yeah, I think it was definitely a very big step in the right direction. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Well, that's great, Candace. Well, let's take a right step in the right direction. Let's look at this breakdown. And either you can go get this data publicly, and you can pay more and get even deeper data with all the geolocation, so like they did. So let's go ahead and go to this report. Breaking: 66% of what Candace owned Egyptian planes locations claims are wrong. 60% are on the wrong continent. I rebuilt her spreadsheet, purchased Flight Radar 22 data, and verified it using $950 of flight aware logs. Here is the full breakdown. Because you get public stuff, which you can verify it, but then you can always buy more data, which has now been duplicated, which TPUSA did and presented, I'm told, to Candace. So I'm glad she's feeling like everybody's going in the right direction. That's good.
On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at Utah Valley University. Police say they have the shooter. There's a confession, DNA, and a recovered weapon. His name is Tyler Robinson. His parents identified him from FBI photos and helped turn him in. But online, a very different story has taken hold. A story claiming this wasn't a lone gunman, but a coordinated multinational operation involving Egypt, Israel, France, the United States, federal agencies, TPUSA executives, Bridget Macron, and even French legionnaires. And at the center of it all are two planes. Candace Owens has told millions of people that two Egyptian military aircraft, SU-BTT and SU-BND, tracked Erica Kirk's movements 73 times over 3 years.
Between 2022 and September of 2025, both of those aircrafts, SU-BTT, the yellow plane, and SU-BND, the blue plane, showed 68 overlaps with Erica's documented locations, okay? 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. I am telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet now. These are all the instances in which this plane, 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica.
She says the odds of this happening randomly are
less than a 0.0000000001% probability, okay, under random distribution models that these Egyptian planes coincidentally landed around Erica at these times.
In her words, the Egyptian planes hold the key.
The Egyptian planes hold the key, and that is obvious. Maybe these planes might be the key to everything. They hold the key to solving Charlie's assassination.
Egypt to Israel to France, the United States to TPUSA to Charlie's murder. This entire web rests on one claim, that these two Egyptian planes tracked Erica Kirk 73 times. To support it, Candace said she used Flight Radar 24 and showed a spreadsheet on her screen. I screenshotted that spreadsheet and rebuilt it line by line. She says she verified everything using Flight Radar 24. So I did exactly what she claims she did. I bought the Flight Radar 24 business subscription, the same one she says she used. Then I went further. I purchased a $950 3-year flight log from FlightAware to independently verify every entry. When you compare what the planes are actually doing to what Candace claims they did, the results aren't close. 66% of her location claims are wrong. And in 60% of the cases, the aircraft is on an entirely different continent. She has devoted much of her last 21 episodes to tying Charlie Kirk's murder to an international conspiracy centered on these two aircraft.
Egyptian plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian plane, Egyptian planes, Egyptian planes, Egyptian military planes, Egyptian planes.
The government ears Alex Jones, who has the largest audience in the country.
And their secret meeting yesterday that I knew about way before, and I know the inside baseball, and I'll probably just spend 5 minutes on it because people want to know about it, but they were going to have a live show together, and then they were also going to have their own shows, and
things have just basically put on pause. That's why TPUSA was set to do a live show after the meeting, but then they were asked by both parties, well, let's put that on hold for now until they figure out what's going to go on. I can tell you this, I have been forced to review, this became such a big deal, all of it. And let's just say this, it'd be very good for Candace Owens to bury the hatchet and move on from this. We'll continue to investigate what happened to Charlie, and the people at TPUSA have questions, but they certainly, in my view, did not kill him. Give me a break. The government's going to have dozens of people involved killing somebody. And I've gone down the rabbit trail. See, I'm already doing it. I'm going to let everybody else is going to do it, so I don't need to. And I don't have any ill will towards Candace, but you know, the airplane stuff that these Egyptian planes were following her, it's all been gone out and gotten by multiple experts and well-known people. They looked at it, and it's not accurate. Only once was that plane even around her. Wasn't following her for years. Was going to a facility where they work on the planes. Some guy said he just the day before went into a base in Arizona, and there was all these colonels, and it was a plan to get Charlie, and then the people he said was there weren't even there. They have the timestamps of them in airplanes flying out of Dallas at the time. But I was forced to go look at all of it and investigate all of it. And it's just all these internet groups will say something and say, oh, this happened, and then Candace covers it. I'm not even blaming her. And then it just becomes fact. And did the killer of Charlie Kirk have accomplices? I believe so. Did I give you the intel that only a week after it, in the White House meeting with J.D. Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, and FBI Director Patel, he was yelling at her saying, I don't want to hear about foreign group involvement. We're not investigating that. And I don't want to hear about any domestic groups. And they had intel, pings that need to be investigated on foreign involvement, only phone calls and connections, no proof, but it was still something there. And that's her office's job, what was set up by Congress for 9/11 for. And then we know the 10, I was correct, it was 10 trannies or tranny acolytes, Trantifa, that said 3 days before, 2 days before, the day before, he'll be dead when he comes to town. And 6 of those were the day before. And I've learned exclusively that indeed they were all interviewed by the FBI. And Kash Patel doesn't think there's enough evidence to prove they were accomplices. Yeah, he told them he was going to do it. Yeah. They knew it was coming, but they don't think there's enough to, indict them because they might not get convictions. What? That proves right there it's the Democrats, the left, the Trantifa that said they were going to kill him, celebrated him being killed. And it's that type of stuff that discredits the FBI.
Okay, so from that video, we're going to jump in to another one, and I hope I've got it on the right bit.
I think it was definitely a very big step in the right direction. So,
and then she looked down when she said the right direction. So she said it's a very good, everything went great.
No, I think that video is flipped though, because in her podcast she looks right and that she looked left. So I think it's mirrored under her selfie.
No. It's left or right. So this is what the eye movements mean. Okay. So when you look down, that means you're regretful for something. That's normal. Everybody knows that, right? But when you look up, that means you're utilizing your feelings, because it's certain parts of your brain that you actually access, and you can actually feel where your actual thoughts are coming from. And that's what causes you to look in certain places, because you can actually feel the area of your brain that your thoughts are getting derived from. So when you look up, you're pulling your feelings. Like, it's just like, I feel like this. I just feel like, how women say, I just feel like this. Or, if I was to ask you how you feel, you're like, you know what? I feel pretty good. So you'll look up, right? When you look left or right, it doesn't mean you're lying. It means, it can mean you're lying, but it doesn't always mean you're lying. What it actually means is you're pulling out some type of pre-thought script. So, you say, all right, I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to give them a piece of my mind, right? That is a thought script that you're going to go into the office and say. So if you have a pre-thought that you're like, okay, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that, and then you turn on the camera, you're pulling that from that hemisphere of your brain from the left and the right. So when you start looking left or when you start looking right, it means you're either lying or you pre-thought this so much where you have to stay on script.
And you have to compare that to previous patterns too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just look for something different. Look for indicators.
Exactly. Because just like with us, neither one of us are going like this over and over again because we're just having a conversation. But if you were to ask me, so what was 3 questions that were asked from the show last night? You might see me go like this, or because now I'm pulling something from my memory that I'm trying to recall. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So yeah. So what she was doing last night is literally what it's kind of like showing she was either lying or she had a pre-thought script in her head that she said she was going to do. So shout out to Rachel. We got Rachel up here.
What's up? How you doing,
Hey.
baby? How you doing?
Good. I love the glasses.
Oh, they're actually bifocals, so I can see you.
Oh, okay. So I wanted you up here, Rachel, too, because you was pissed off in the chat.
I've gotten a lot of hate from that, man. It's that, like, I've got about 30,000 people that hate me now. I didn't even know
Yeah,
about
you were
me.
pissed. So let's go here. I have 20 questions that I would have asked if I was in that meeting with Erica. So do one of you want to start? Do y'all have questions or you want me to start?
I have one, and then we can go from
Okay.
there. First one's Andrew
Okay.
Colett. Why is he the PR guy? And everything came out basically saying he was doing his own thing. He was saying what he wanted to say. He was talking to the medical examiner and releasing information that should be HIPAA private. I mean, he's doing his own thing. So it's not like TPUSA he doesn't even have him on a leash, right? So Erica's the CEO. Why is she allowing this? That's my question.
Okay. So let's talk about that. In my opinion, everybody is the PR person because everybody is stupid. I don't like. I think you know how people are good at one thing but not good at another thing. I don't think anybody at Turning Point USA is good at PR. I think they all are like stupid when it comes to things like PR because, like on a normal basis, one person like Frank Turek literally said, Charlie Kirk said that they're trying to unalive me, and here comes Erica coming out like a dummy saying he did not say that or nobody said anything about that. There was no text messages. All that was a lie. From a PR standpoint, wouldn't you go to Frank Turek and say, hey, let's corroborate our lies so we can sound like we're not stupid and incoherent?
They need to synchronize the lies.
Synchronize
the lies.
Right. So they keep lying, but they don't check in with the other person about a lie. Matt, if we went to the strip club or whatever and your lady don't like going to the strip club and your lady was like, where were you last night? Wouldn't you check with me to get me to help you lie and say we went to the library first?
We were reading
Because that's literally what's going on.
Dude, everything about it upset me so much because the main thing is that we all know America Fest is happening, right? We all know that. And because this last minute meeting happened, it was, I think, a last ditch attempt to save the reputation, put it behind closed doors, because if it was live, then, you know, there a lot of lies would have been exposed. And, you know, Candace could look at the comments and she was so, I don't want to say desperate, not to lose all of us, because I was looking at the chat, and if you even read the chat right now, I'm sorry, not the chat, if you look at the comments, everyone's like, I'm done. So she went on, I don't know if you knew this, but she went on live on Instagram last night to answer even more, because she was so, and so my friend and I
and still didn't say anything.
And still didn't say anything, but he said.
And she still didn't say anything.
She still didn't say anything, but he asked a question, and one of his questions was, "Scratch your nose if Charlie's alive." And she was like,
"Oh wait, what? Wait, hold on, I got it. Hold on, I got it right here. I don't know how much of it that I got to see that."
He literally said, I mean, she didn't put him on, but you know, the comment was, "Scratch your nose if Charlie's in protective custody." And she was going like this, and I was dying. I was like, it could be a coincidence. Could be a coincidence, but we were both just dying because
nothing is a coincidence.
Like, keep focusing on politics.
Remember, Erica Kirk.
And like, it's like, no, because
what is going on?
If this is covered up and we don't get a clear answer.
Hold on, y'all. Something's wrong. But the queen, Erica Kirk, said nothing is a coincidence. All right, so here we go.
This weird peer pressure that we all need to vote and just like keep focusing on politics and support conservative organizations. And like, it's like, no, because to me, if this is covered up and we don't get a clear answer, and when I say a clear and convincing answer, I don't mean $1 billion campaign spent on influencers telling you that the answer is clear. I mean, like, we all look at each other and go, yeah, like 100%, we saw him pull the trigger and that's it, it's over. And even in that regard, even if I actually saw.
So I'm going to fast forward a little bit because she's just talking about Tyler Robinson.
Yeah, just look for the physical gesture of her scratching her nose.
I want to play devil's advocate here really quick.
Go ahead.
Because her comments, a lot of those are bots. I get thousands of bots in my comments.
Yes.
So how many were legitimate?
I disagree, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but Candace never says anything about bots when everybody's like saying that they love her. Why is it out of nowhere like, oh my God, all these bots are in here? Oh, really? Oh, it's bots in here now that they're disagreeing with you. So that's the reason why I want to have some pushback with the bot stuff.
Yeah, well, because a lot of us, including me, I said I've supported her. I've lost my whole TikTok account because I was standing up for her. And I said I did not. I am not a bot. And there was a bunch of us that were like, we are not bots. Candace knows. The comment section was not favorable of that podcast today at all.
Thank you for saying that, Rachel. Because the thing about it is, Matt, even though I understand what you're saying that there's some bots in here, it was 317,000 people watching her, and it was 100,000 of those 300,000 talking shit because they were mad. They were not bots. They were actual humans. The super chats were humans. I would say 90% of the people in the chat and the super chats were saying negative stuff. And now out of nowhere, we're bots. We weren't bots last week.
Yeah, someone in your comments said 300,000 viewers got called bots yesterday. That's funny.
Yeah, and that's disrespectful. Hold on. Yeah. Up with BM said, hey, Mr. Let Go and Matt. Matt, do you like the camera guy you interviewed do you think the camera guy you interviewed was sincere?
So here's my thoughts on it. I saw his previous interview. We pre-interviewed him. Kelly Raybon did a bunch of footwork talking to him, and then obviously we had the stream. I said like 99% chance he seems sincere. 1% chance, a couple of things, like following the exact FBI narrative. Some people are that way, but he's also very religious and Christian, so that's not unusual to me. So I would say 99% he's good. He's good.
Okay.
She did address last night in her live on Instagram. She did address when someone, and I just wanted to hear about the orphanage, okay? That Romanian orphanage. Yeah. And also the most important question to me was, you and I, we all know that Charlie, not only was he afraid for his life, but that they made it look like he thought the left wing was going to kill him. No. That is not the directive. And so when they changed it to that, I got really upset because the true question is he did not accept money from the IHOP, right? And because of that, he was afraid of his life. It is not about left and right. And they're trying to make it look like that. And that narrative is, so the main question she should have been asking is he did not take that donor money. Where is that donor money now? And
it's in TPUSA.
They have the donor money now because he's dead.
Yes. And so that's the main question. And then also, hey, Erica, what did your dad do for a living? And why were the Egyptian planes following you? Because what they're talking about, she's going to talk about the planes today. No. Erica should have been like, okay, right now, let's say, hey, nice to meet you, Matt, by the way.
Nice to meet you too.
If you were to say, hey, Rachel, there's these Egyptian planes, blah, 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 blah. I'd be like, wait, what? Wait, what? I'd be freaking out if a cop followed me, let alone an Egyptian plane. There was just like, that is supposed to be a narrative that we all just accept and that Erica already knew. Why did she know that? That's really weird. What is that about? But instead, she's like, I wasn't on the plane because I was pregnant. But why is there a plane at all?
Exactly. She said I wasn't on the plane, which means she recognizes that there is a plane.
She didn't deny the planes.
Exactly.
She didn't deny it. Because I would have been like, well, I don't know anything about a plane. She said I wasn't on the plane because I was pregnant.
She knows about it. And guys, we know her dad works for Raytheon. And for me, when I did my research as someone that normally does the research about this, it's normal for somebody to be followed if their father is important and works for defense contractors like Raytheon and has anything to do with IHOP. And if this is an ongoing thing, then maybe they're just protecting her because she's the daughter. I don't know. That's the only.
And it's a conflict of interest. Everything really is a conflict of interest. The fact that the reason why they said or lied and said that what is his name? Rob McCoy does not work for Turning Point USA.
Oh yeah, that was a big lie too, because
the reason why they said that is because it will be a legal conflict of interest because Mikey works there also, and they both you can't have two people that are higher ups kin to each other.
Well, here's the question though.
Conflict of interest. Go ahead.
Did you mean no TPUSA at all? Because he did work for TPUSA Faith, right? It's a separate company.
They said not at all, which was a lie.
Well, she said not TPUSA. She didn't say not TPUSA Faith, so I'm curious about that still.
You're right. Maybe that was a very subtle. If I watched it again, I'd have to see if she was like left that out because that's a different LLC. And so that would be just a lie, but a subtle lie to kind of redirect. But you know what, Candace, stop talking about Tim Pool. We don't care about him anymore. She focused so much of her podcast yesterday on Tim Pool and that he said they had the same security team. And we're all in the comments. If she could read the comments for a second, or her producer should have been like, maybe let's lighten up on the Tim Pool because no one cares about it. Do you guys care about Tim Pool? I want to hear about what happened with Erica.
Actually, yes. Hold on.
You do.
Because that Tim Pool, well, I don't know if y'all seen when I dropped it in the chat. Let me see if I can find it. Tim Pool actually apologized. And I had a problem with Tim Pool calling her a C next Tuesday. So I would like to play that because to me. That part was extremely important because, like, when a man apologizes, that's accountability, right? So hold on, let me play it real quick.
I do apologize for calling her a degenerate cunt.
I just say it again.
I am mad with Candace Owens, and she has said disparaging things of me. It was unbecoming, and I accept that, and I do apologize.
I think that's huge because as men, we can't be running around just saying all kinds of crazy shit about women without having some type of accountability. Because we want women to be accountable. We want women to stop lying, or women to do this, or women to do that. We as men have to do it first.
Right. And he also said that he recognized that he lost his temper, and that if Charlie Kirk were alive, Charlie would probably have called him and said, dude, you got to just keep your emotional outburst to, you know what I mean? Because that just looks poorly. So he apologized about that too, but she was upset that he's saying that they have the same security team, or she had the same security team as Charlie Kirk. And it gets into the minutia of, okay, it's another thing to look at, but would it be something to focus when you just got out of a meeting that the entire world is waiting to hear about with Erica in behind closed doors? And another thing is, meetings behind closed doors, that's where deals are made. When you have a live stream and you're transparent, and she said, someone called her out on yesterday on Instagram, and she said, I didn't have a choice. That's all they offered me. That's all they offered me. I said, well,
wait, who didn't have a choice?
So Candace was confronted on her live stream last night when she was reading the questions. Like, you know, she's trying to get her fan base back, I guess. And one of the questions was, why did you do it behind closed doors? It was a bad decision that everyone agreed upon. And she said, they didn't give me a choice. That's all they offered me. And I said, well, they offered you to fly to TP Turning Point, and you said no. You could have said no to this. Yeah. Or you could have said, why don't we have the conversation after America Fest? Because they were trying to save face, because that live stream would have destroyed a lot of their
marketing point for American Fest.
Yeah, America Fest. And they knew that they had to do something. So they pulled Erica out, finally said, now we hear that it was actually Megan that was behind all of this. You guys hear that?
Megan Kelly.
I got that.
Yes.
You got that right here.
Yeah. And then she was the one behind, she was behind closed doors, putting this whole thing together, trying to make the two ladies be friends again.
I've been wondering why I haven't said anything, given my previous statements about Erica. And the reason is that I have been working behind the scenes to try to foster a détente between them. Erica called me weeks ago and asked me if I would be part of this sit down with them, which originally they had contemplated might be for consumption by the public, might air in some way, shape, or form, and asked if I would facilitate that.
So as I'm watching this, I'm looking at her eye movement, and it's concise with what she's doing. She seems to be sad. She seems to be like frustrated, and she's looking down, right? And that makes sense with her, you know, what she's saying. And this is how eye movements can easily be understood. She's not looking left and right. She's not looking up. She's looking down, because you can hear her monotone voice. She doesn't even really want to do this video. So it's congruent with how she's feeling. And that's how understanding eye movement works. Look at her eyes. She's concise with what she's saying.
Meeting between the two of them. And I said, yes, immediately. Of course I would. I reached out to Candace. She said, absolutely. I'm thrilled it's you. I'm in. And the two of them took it from there, trying to negotiate the specific.
So right there, she's looking left because she's recalling the conversation she had with her and Erica, which is okay because she's recalling an old conversation. That's why she's looking left and right. I mean, looking left there. I'm just trying to get the audience to understand how to understand a person's eye movements. When you're trying to recall something, that's when you start looking left or right.
Specifics of what they'd both be comfortable with, where, when, etc. And eventually it changed after they hit some roadblocks. Again, that's for someone else to tell you about if they so choose. I understand my core audience knows who I am and would never have assumed the worst about me, that I was just abandoning Erica or getting ready to pounce on Candace and, you know, insert myself into this on one side. I'm not getting ready to do that. And I don't want that. I don't think that's God's role for me here. I really fully believe God's role for me here is to possibly play a role in getting this whole thing to a better place. I think I might be in a position to help construct that. Maybe not. But sitting here in my studio in Connecticut, just slinging mud at one side or the other, or tearing people down, or, you know, expressing my disgust, my outrage, that is pointless here. My goal and my job here, I think, is to try to understand, yes, where Candace is coming from on this. I know you're not supposed to say it, supposed to just, immediately condemn her. But I love the Turning Point guys, and I don't believe for one second any of them had anything to do with Charlie's murder. Not for 1 second.
All right, whatever. Because now I'm mad. But she has a right to have that belief.
She does.
She has the
And
right to have that
I-
belief. That's how she
She's making it seem like she's the peacemaker and she's not going to throw mud. That's what she does for a living. I watch Meghan. She throws mud at everything.
She's a liar.
She does it all the time.
She's a
And
liar.
for her to say 100% that she believes it's Taylor Robinson, that right there, it loses credibility for me.
So in the chat, a lot of people are saying they unsubscribed from Candace in the chat. So everyone listening, if you unsubscribed from Candace last night, put a 1 in the chat. If you're still subscribed to her, put a 2. On 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm interested.
I want to see that too.
Yeah, I would love to see that. So put a 1 in the chat if y'all unsubscribe from Candace, and put a 2 in the chat if you have not.
So 2, 2, 1. Hell
Okay.
no. 2, 2.
It's kind of even.
Yeah, half and half.
Yeah, it's about half and half. Yeah. That's how I
Mhm.
felt yesterday. It was half and half in the
Yeah.
chat too.
So just for the record, I don't want people to unsubscribe from Candace.
No.
I like Candace. I support Candace. Because like I said earlier, I want everybody to understand at least my way of looking at this. Candace is not going to die now. And that's kind of like what I'm saying. Because like I said earlier, they went in there and said, we did it. And it's just my opinion. We did it. We unalived, well, not us, but our operatives unalived Charlie Kirk for this reason, for this reason, for this reason. And you can't do nothing about it. And if you keep talking shit, we're going to do the same thing to you. So which one is it going to be? And we'll throw in a bonus. We'll take away the lawsuit that the Macrons are like, you know, causing y'all to lose all this money with. So no more lawsuit and you can live. So which one is it going to be? And I think she said, okay, I'm just going to get on there and just babble about dumb shit. I'm going to start talking about Egyptian planes. I'm going to start talking about Guatemalan planes. I'm just going to start saying all kinds of goofy shit. And my audience is going to be like, oh my God, and now it's Guatemalan planes. Oh my God. And then everything's going to be okay.
Okay, but can I ask you this? Because I'm going to hop off in about 5 minutes because I'm going to fly to go on that cruise that you were laughing at me.
Which
that
I
was
told
gonna
you
go
not
on.
to go to.
You told me not to go on because Candace said something's going to happen in the first 2 weeks of December.
And it happened.
What were you talking about, the Australia thing?
Mhm.
Okay, so but that to me does not compare at all with an event of that one day on 9/11. That does not compare at all.
You still going to go. And this is what I'm saying about women, y'all. This is what I'm saying. Women don't listen to nothing. I specifically told Rachel, do not get on that boat, mainly because of what Candace said, because there could be some type of 9/11 type of situation. I said, so to protect yourself, Rachel, please don't go. Her ass is going. Women don't listen right here.
I'm leaving you everything. You didn't. I got a living will, and now I'm going to leave Matt some stuff.
I need you. I don't want everything else. I want
the hat.
You want that? All right. Well,
I call them diarrhea cruises because every time someone goes on those cruises, they come back with the norovirus and they lock it up on the port and everyone's, having diarrhea, getting sick.
Those are Carnival cruises. This is Virgin Voyager. This is going to be. I mean, it's false advertising, first of all, but the Virgin Voyager is. We'll see.
Okay, so that live stream actually continues with a lot more information, but let's go over to here because this is worth watching.
تحدث 10 مكاسج 10 مكاسج 10 مكاسج ما انت كتاب قدام ما وضع هيري هذا الشيء دام بخر صناعي دكسي ذا وفي عنها وكل هاي هذه انا اوفي عن ما اوفي عنك هاي في عنانك هذا ما باركنا يعني هذه محل يستاغن تاي محل يستاغن تاي فديس 10 كا اخي صعب
من يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره
بيجك كلا سي اخريسا هذين كسوبح 10 كان ku arkay كبح هاي محل غسلي اخري 10 هاي كبح هذه